This tigress is one of the greatest fighters I've ever seen. She's living in a tiger paradise, a beautiful and rich land she's fought for long and hard. And with 2 young cubs, she's a mother for the first time. But there's danger in this tiger paradise. Her mate, the father of her cubs, is gone. There's a new male tiger in town, and this can only mean trouble. To claim this tigress, the new male could kill her 2 cubs. Can she hold him off long enough for her cubs to grow up in tiger paradise? I'm Valmik Thapar, and I'm in Ranthambore National Park in central India. It's one of the last strongholds of the Royal Bengal tiger. I've been coming here for 26 years to learn about the tiger, especially in this area of the lakes behind me. The ancient Mughal ruins that surround Ranthambore's beautiful lakes have been transformed into a perfect place for tigers. And it's home to one special tiger I've been following for nearly 4 years now, a tigress called Machli. I've come back here to find out what has happened to Machli, one of the greatest fighters Ranthambore has ever known. Two years ago, Machli fought huge battles with her mother to take control of this superb area of water, palace and temple, the lakes. And she won her battle. She pushed her mother away, took over this area and raised her first litter. They're both male cubs. She's really looking after them at the moment. Oh wow, look at him. Learning the ways of the mother. With a fighter like Machli for a mother, we could be looking at the next generation of Ranthambore's great tigers. But I've discovered that there's trouble for this family. When I was here 2 years ago, Machli had a mate, a big, experienced male. He fathered her cubs and he should be here now protecting them. But he's vanished. I think he's dead. Now Machli has to raise her cubs all on her own without a strong resident male. I'm really worried about these two cubs because they are young male cubs. There could be a new resident male in the area, so the tigress has to be really careful. She's got to keep them well protected. She has to defend them and chase away any male intruder. In fact, she's bound to fight the male so that he keeps a distance from the cubs. The lakes are prime tiger territory. Any male tiger will be quick to move in and check out the chances of becoming the new resident. But who will it be? There's nowhere else in the world where tigers are so accustomed to people. But it's mainly the tigress and her cubs we can get close to, not the big males. Even with all my years of experience here in Ranthambore, I still know so little about the males, especially when they're trying to claim a new territory. Just what are they prepared to do to get a mate? Finding a male tiger for me is the most special thing because they're evasive and elusive. This one is just coming into his prime. He's still young, but he's a beauty. I know this male. It's Nick. He's only 3 years old, so he's not very experienced. Is he old enough to mate? I wonder, will he stay? But he's not the only male around. We found signs of a much bigger tiger nearby. He's about 5, so he's much more experienced and a far more dangerous proposition. God, this guy knows what he's doing. With these two males moving through Machli's territory, her cubs could be in real danger. I saw a frightening scene many years ago. This is what an adult male tiger can do to cubs that aren't his own, even big cubs. Machli's two boys are much smaller. It's early June and the monsoon isn't far off. Temperatures have soared to over 120 degrees in the shade, and Machli's brought her cubs to a cool, secluded spot not far from the lakes. I've named this cub Broken Tail after the strange kink at the end of his tail, and both these cubs are already turning into real characters. Even in this boiling heat, the two of them seem to have boundless energy. Practicing their hunting skills is a vital part of learning how to survive on their own. But at the moment, they're still totally dependent on Machli. They won't be able to hunt for themselves for many more months. They're getting really adventurous at this age, but wandering off into the open is exactly what a young cub shouldn't do with big males in the area. Even though Machli's calling her cub back, he doesn't seem to be taking any notice. This is a crucial time in the family's life. These cubs need to test the boundaries with their mother if they are ever going to make it on their own. But if they stumble into one of the males, it could be disastrous. This time Machli's warnings worked, but from now on it's going to be harder and harder to keep control of these growing cubs. And she needs to be careful. Nick, the first male we spotted, looks like he's making himself at home in Machli's territory. I think he's going to make a move to claim Machli before long. The monsoon has finally arrived, and this may be just the break she needs. As new watering holes spring up everywhere, tigers and their prey will spread out around the park, so there should be fewer chances of the cubs running into the males by the lakes. Machli should also find it easier to hide her cubs in the tall grass that will cover the park in the next few months. But for me, the rains are less welcome. The roads will become impassable and the park will be closed now for 4 months. I have to leave Ranthambhore's lakes to the crocodiles and the vultures. All I can do is wait and hope that the cubs will still be here when I return. Four months is far too long to stay away. It's my first day back after the monsoon, and the change in Ranthambhore is remarkable. It's so much harder to spot the tigers in this tall grass. That's Machli, but where are the cubs? What a relief. For months now I've been worrying about them, hoping they've been able to stay out of danger. Broken Tail and his brother are in fantastic shape, and they've almost doubled in size since I saw them last. But they won't reach their full size until they are 4. The cubs may think they're having fun, but Machli has some serious lessons to teach them. When the cubs finally go off on their own, they'll have to leave Machli's territory completely. And because they're male tigers, they'll need to find a territory at least 3 or 4 times the size of their mothers. On these trips, the cubs are starting to learn the language of the forest, how to stalk, prowl, and hunt. How to identify all the right scents and sounds. But there's more than deer in this area. There's another tiger prowling around in the distance. Almost certainly a male. But which one? With 3 mouths to feed, Machli needs to be hunting all the time now. But she can't hunt with the cubs. They're so noisy, they would scare away any prey. So this time, Machli's left them behind in the grass. These two youngsters just can't resist chasing everything around them. They'll need much more practice before they can hunt successfully on their own. This is how life should be for these two cubs. They should have at least 6 or 8 more months of this, growing up by the lakes, learning the ways of the tiger. But without their father to protect them, I just know this life can't last much longer. Muchly needs to prepare the cubs for a life without her. It can't be long now before Muchly will be forced to accept a new male and have cubs with him. Muchly has to keep the male happy and her 2 cubs safe. It's going to be a really difficult balancing act. Nick, the young male I saw here before the monsoon, is back. Muchly's discovered he's been scent marking in her territory again. Even though Nick's keeping his distance, he doesn't look as if he has any intention of leaving. He's more interested in Muchly than in making a kill, but for now, scent marking is as close as she's going to let him get. Nick may be young, but he seems very determined. A few days later, I found Muchly being pursued by Nick again. He's definitely interested in mating. He's much bigger than Muchly, so this is a really risky moment for her. Will she give in and let him mate with her, or will she try and fight him off? Looks like she's keeping down, away from Nick, so he can't get behind her and mount her. Nick's really enticed by her scent now. There's a real tension in the air. He doesn't look like giving up. They're about to go for each other. Muchly still has the fight in her, and it looks like she's managed to wound more than Nick's pride. This gash is going to make it hard for Nick to hunt over the next few days. Muchly's won the first round, but I'd be surprised if that's the last she sees of him. At least the cubs are where she left them. After Muchly's fight with Nick, the cub's existence by the lake is now really precarious. The two cubs are all that stand between Nick and Muchly. As long as Muchly has these cubs to take care of, she'll try to avoid mating and having a new litter. Nick knows this. Now whenever Muchly leaves the cubs alone, there's a risk she may not find them alive when she returns. But male tigers are not the only danger lurking around the lakes. These waters are home to the huge Indian crocodile, or mugger, an animal quite capable of killing a tiger cub. But muggers are more likely to prey on the deer that feed in the lakes, and Muchly knows that crocs can provide a free meal if you know what to look for. Wading deer can get caught by muggers, and if Muchly and the cubs move in quickly, they could steal a meal from the jaws of a croc. This means wading through dangerous waters. I wouldn't dip my toes in these crocodile-infested waters, even if there was a feast on the other side. This time, the tigers are too late. The crocs have already dragged the sambar into deep water. It's a dangerous game trying to steal from the muggers. But Broken Tail wants to give it one more try. The cubs are only a few months away from independence. Time may have already run out. Nick's back again, and he's right in the middle of Muchly's territory, exactly where the cubs are. He looks fully recovered, and I don't think she'll be able to fight him off this time. What will happen to the cubs if she mates with Nick now? They can't survive here with Nick as the resident male. Muchly's moved away from the cubs and is rolling in scent. This is a big change in her behavior, and it's the first time she seems willing to leave the cubs. The family could be on the verge of breaking up. I think she may even be going in search of Nick. Yes, she's found him, and she's not aggressive at all now. I doubt if there will be any fighting this time. She's really taking charge. She's seducing Nick. She's letting this young male catch her scent and leading him into the bush. This could be a clever move by Muchly. She knows she can't get rid of Nick, and I think she may have decided to submit to him, to buy a bit more time for her cubs. But will it work? Muchly definitely has a new mate now. This isn't a full mating. That's a noisy affair that can last for days. But this is a big sign that things have changed. The cubs have no idea just how soon they'll have to rely on their own hunting ability. And they haven't learnt that teamwork is a complex skill. With these two, it only increases the chance of messing up the hunt. It's a race against time. The cubs' lack of experience is now deadly serious. If they don't learn to hunt successfully, they won't survive. This is a big moment for the family. I wonder what Muchly will do. How will she let her cubs know that things have changed? This is amazing. This is the last thing I'd expect to see. She's letting two full-grown cubs suckle her. There's no milk for them, but this shows the incredibly close bond between the mother and her cubs. I constantly wonder at tigers and their behavior. After 26 years of tiger watching, this is a magical moment for me. But I wonder, is this a farewell? Is this the last time I'll see the family together? A few days later, everything has changed. Early one morning, the sound of the crows attracts us to a carcass. Hoping to find Muchly and her cubs, we find her alone. We wait with her for many hours, but the cubs never appear. Eventually she leaves, abandoning the kill to the scavengers. What has happened? Have the cubs finally decided it's too dangerous with Nick around and struck out on their own? Or has something worse happened? Has Nick killed Broken Tail and his brother to make way for his own cubs? Since that day, Machli's also become really difficult to find.
Watching Machli as she turns around and moves off from us, and we've been hunting for her, searching for her for days, and being really worried because we can't find her cubs.
After all these months, it's so strange to see Machli wandering the lakes alone. I wonder whether these changes and the cubs' disappearance mean she's carrying Nick's cubs now. For the next few weeks, we look everywhere. We turn everything upside down, searching for Broken Tail and his brother. We hear rumors of sightings, but neither of the cubs ever appears. We don't know if they're simply hiding from Nick and other males, or if they've actually left Machli's territory completely. I don't know where these cubs have gone. They've become so elusive in the last few months. In a way, they play hide and seek with everything around them. And that's the only way they keep away from the big males. They keep away from danger. And that's how they will survive till maturity. I know that male tigers move further away from their mother's territory than females do. So we've decided to look for the cubs outside Machli's normal area. And in another part of the park, we soon make an amazing discovery. A big adult male, not one we've seen before. He's known in Ranthambore as the Chiroli male, and this must be his territory. And there's sounds coming from the ridge above. It's a female. Her cubs are calling from the top. They're all squeaking like birds. They want to be near Mama. A dominant cub, it looks like the dominant one, is coming down. Another one is coming down. She's going down on the road. Down on the road. Look at the cubs, they're coming down. This is Ranthambore's newest family, a mother with 3 to 4 month old cubs. It shows that the tigers inside the park are doing brilliantly. Even in a tiger paradise like Ranthambore, 4 cubs is an extremely rare sight. I'm delighted the tigress is letting us follow her and the cubs so closely. And they're so young. This must be one of their first walks in the open. I could stay with them all day. But one of the people helping our search has just seen a male tiger making a kill. It may be Broken Tail or his brother.
So what's been happening?
You won't believe what I just saw.
What did you see?
I saw a male tiger on Malik Talab Anikat. He charged and killed Samba. And I've got it on film.
You've got a kill on dry land? Very few people have that in the world. Oh, wow. He's down on the Samba. Look at that. Wow.
But it's not one of the cubs. It's the male I saw kill a cheetal in Machli's territory before the monsoon. That means there are at least 3 adult males trying to establish themselves in this part of the park. Our cubs would have to be incredibly clever to still be alive. Before continuing our search, I can't resist one more look at Ranthambhore's latest family. Their father, the Chiroli male, is here to protect them. He's an experienced male and he could reign here for 4 or 5 years. That's plenty of time for these little ones to grow up and learn the tiger skills they need. This is really an exciting discovery, but there's no sign of Broken Tail and his brother here. Our next stop is miles away from Ranthambhore's beautiful lakes.
I'm right on the edge of Ranthambhore National Park. This is where the tree line ends and the agricultural plains start. Thousands of people, thousands of livestock. The irony is that the tigers of Ranthambhore have done so well inside, but they're running out of space. There's no sign of our 2 cubs. They may have been pushed outwards by a big male. But where are they going to go? There's just no more land and there are too many people. Are they sentenced to death? Can they ever survive?
The edges of the park are protected, but they're really not good places for tigers. There's virtually no natural prey for them, so to survive, they have to feed on livestock, which immediately causes conflict with the local villagers. Many tigers have died in these areas over the years from poisoning and poaching. I think if our 2 cubs have survived, they must have hidden inside the park's boundaries. And at last, 5 months after Machli's cubs mysteriously disappeared, we have found one of them alive. It's Broken Tail, and he's turned up only 2 kilometers from Machli's territory. This is what I've been hoping to see for months now. He's just over 2 years old, he's in great condition, as bold as ever, and I can't believe we found him face to face with a sloth bear, one of the most dangerous animals in the park. What confidence! He truly is Machli's son. there's still no sign of his brother, and Broken Tail's struggle for survival has only just begun. For the next few years, he'll have to keep dodging the older males, hoping to stay alive until he can claim a territory and the females that come with it. Back in Machli's territory, Nick looks right at home. This 4-year-old has managed to claim one of Ranthambhore's greatest fighters as his mate and forced her cubs out of her territory. He's earned his stripes and is now the new resident male. As a first-time mother, Machli has succeeded in rearing at least one male cub in the most difficult conditions a tigress could face. Now I'm sure she's carrying a new litter of cubs and that Nick is the father. This time around, Nick won't be a threat, but a protector for both her and her cubs. I can't wait to see the next generation grow up in this unique tiger paradise.